Hello. We are continuing to divide decimals by decimals, noticing the patterns, but more importantly, understanding how to do that. And of course, noticing the patterns. First, let me introduce, as always, we can use estimation techniques to see if our answers are reasonable. I'm on page 51, and we have this quick example here at number 4, estimate the value of each. So estimation has 2 steps, round, then divide. How do we round? In division, we round to the closest division fact. So 4,598, well, isn't it so convenient? It is very close to 4,500, which is perfectly divisible by 3, and we have 1,500 as our quotient. Now, take a look. The same number, 4,598, divide by 3/10. Divide by 3/10. So we can round it to 4,500. How do we divide by 3/10? Mentally, you don't have to write it down. Let's multiply by 10. On the left, what we do to the left, we must do to the right to come up with an equivalent statement. And now we have 45,000 divided by 3, which gives us 15,000. So 3/10 goes 15,000 times into 4,500. Now let's take a look. We have 45.98. Let's round it to just 45. Well, how many times 3/10 goes into 45? Again, to get rid of this decimal place, we can mentally multiply by 10 and come up with an equivalent statement, which is 450 divided by 3, and the answer is 150 times. So 3/10 goes into 45, 150 times. And finally, 4.598, let's round it to 4.5 and divide it by 300ths. Again, to get rid of the decimal point in the divisor, let's multiply it 100 times, right? Let's move that decimal point to the right. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. You can even not think that you're multiplying. Just move the decimal point on both sides, and we come up with an equivalent statement. Again, 450 divided by 3, and the answer is 150. Let's practice this. Let's practice. However, here we will employ our dear friend, long division. And because I'm such a long division queen, and I'm really hoping not to make too many mistakes. So let me demonstrate how we do it. Again, 45.9 divided by 3/10. We write it long division way, 45.9 divided by 0.3. My friends, we do not like decimals in the divisor. Let's move the decimal one place to the right as if we're multiplying by 10. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. And now we're dividing an equivalent statement. Let me write it down. It is the same as 459 divided by 3. It is equivalent. It's the same as 459 divided by 3, okay? These two are equivalent statements. If we move the decimal place to the right on both sides. So 3 goes into 45. We can say 15 times. This is 45. Remainder is 0 and 9. So 153. The answer is 153 times. 3/10 goes into 45.9 153 times. Similarly, 3 goes into 459 153 times. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. Now, let's do the same thing for B. We do not like dividing by decimals. It is very uncomfortable for us. Let's move the decimal point 2 times to the right, 2 places. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. It's as if we're multiplying by 100 on both sides, as if. You don't have to say that. And it will come up with an equivalent statement. 8998 divided by 4. Let's do it. 8998 divided by 4. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 8, 9, 2 times 8. 19, 4 times 16, remainder 38. 38 divided by 4, it is 9 times. 9 times. It is 36, and so on. So I would just, how could I have missed it? I'm like, whoa, there's so much division. two decimal places. So I need to keep dividing. Let's see. So 38 minus 36 is 2. And let's put a decimal point and come up with this trailing zeros. 4 goes into 25 times, and the remainder is none. So we did it. It is 2,249.5. Okay, now let's take a look at the final example. Again, I'm not going to do too much writing because I don't want you to constantly rewrite your statements. I'm just going to demonstrate how we would continue doing going forward. So 100 divided by 8 thousandths. Let's move the decimal point place. 3 times to the right, 3 times to the right on both sides. Let's do our division. It is as if we're dividing 100,000 dividing by 8. Well, we know how to do that because we do know, I'm so sorry. We do know that 8 goes into 1,125 times, and the rest are zeros, right? So the answer is 12,500 times. 8 thousandths goes into 100, 12,500 times. Let's take a look at the following page. Ooh, so many examples, but we can do it. Let me just add an extra page because I'm running out of space on page 52. Right here. That page. So we can go like this. So right now, I would like us to jump at the bottom of page 52. We have more examples. Find the value correct to 2 decimal places, which means, I hope you remember, that means divide up to 3 decimal places. That's the step 1. And step 2, round your answer to 2 decimal places. So what can we do? What can we do on this page? Let's just do at least one last box. Let me do C. We will do F. And we will do I for igloo. Let's rewrite. 15 divided by 0.126. Okay, let's rewrite. 15.2 divided by 1.2. And here 14.56 divided by 0.91. Okay, let's start with C. What do we do first? We really do not like dividing by decimals, so let's I see, very interesting. 1, 2, 3. Let's move the decimal place to the right 3 times. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. 1, 2, 3. And let's fill it in with 15,000. So, my friends, I hope you see it, and even though you don't need to write it, that this actually equivalent to 15,000 divided by 6, okay? And 15,000, well, we do know that 6 goes into 150 25 times. Oh, let's do it. 6 goes into 15 2 times. 6 times, by the way, you are dividing by 6 now. 6 times 2 is 12. Remainder is 3. Bring down the 0. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Remainder is 0. And of course, we have to continue with the other zeros. They are there. They make sense. So the answer is 2,500. Here the answer is 2,500. Next, let me put a little split so I can stay a bit more organized. Next example, 15.2 divided by 1.2. Again, we do not like dividing by decimals. Let's move this decimal place to the right, make it 12. What we do to the left, we must do to the right. It is the same as dividing 152 by 12. It's an equivalent statement we just came up with. So let's divide. 12 goes into 15. One time, we have 12. 3, bring down 2. 12 goes into 32. Unfortunately, only 2 times. The answer is 24. The remainder is 8. Guess what? This is our decimal point. We need to place a trailing 0. 12 goes into 80. 12 goes into 80. 12 goes into 80 6 times. 6 times 12 is 72. and the remainder is 8. Another trailing 0. 12 goes into 80. 6 times. Okay, 6 times 12, 72. I hope you see where this is going. Another trailing 0 and so on. So we found 3 decimal places. And now we can round it to 2 decimal places. So it is 12.666, which rounds to 12.67. Okay, here the answer is 12.67. And final example, I for igloo, 14.56 divided by 0.91. Again, we do not like dividing by decimals. Let's move this decimal place to the right 2 times. So we are dividing by 91, except what we did to the left, we must do to the right. So now the equivalent statement is 1456 divided by 91. Okay, let's do the math. Let's do the math, friends. 91 does not go into 14. 91 goes into 145 one time. Oh, this is going to be a quick one. The remainder is 91, and 9 plus 45 is 54. 54 is the remainder. We bring down the 6. 91 goes into 546. 6 times. Let's try 6 times. So we have a 6. 9 times 6 is 50. 9 times 6 is 54. Perfect. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's perfect. Remainder is 0. Guess what? 16, we got a nice and pleasant round answer. We can say that 9100 goes into 14.56 16 times. I hope you learned how we're dividing decimals by decimals using long division algorithm. Step 1, get rid of the decimal point in your divisor. What you do to the left, you must do to the right, meaning like you either multiply both sides by 10, both sides by 100, both sides by 1000, come up with an equivalent statement, and do your long division as you have learned earlier this year.